All right.
Okay. This is WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM. And we have with us at WZRD Rose Mallett, jazz vocalist, actress, uh, um, pianist,
Songwriter.
yes, songwriter, yes. Hello, Rose. Uh, you have been singing for how long now?
Oh, golly. Professionally since 1986.
Wow. And let's say pre-professionally, how did you get involved in singing? How old were you when you started when you got the singing bug?
Well, I was in elementary school in the fourth grade, and my teacher at the time, and you won't believe this, her name was Mrs. Snow White.
Oh,
Uh, they were starting a brand new school chorus, and my teacher suggested that I participate because she had a liking to me, which I'm honored, and that's how it really all began in elementary school in the fourth grade.
hmm. How did she know that you could sing? Did you sing in front of the class somehow and she heard your voice?
Well, actually, it was a really curious way that I got into it. You know how in class teachers give you for your English lessons, they give you different words to learn that week. And so I was given some words that you have to incorporate into a story that you've written. Well, I wrote a story about my grandfather, whose nickname was Uncle Bob, and his wife, Aunt Pink. And I wrote a story about us sitting on a riverbank having a picnic, incorporating these words.
Mhm.
And my teacher she didn't believe that I had written the story because it was so well done. And she said, "Are you sure you wrote this story by yourself?" And I did. And from that point on, she gave me all sorts of opportunities to tell stories to underclassmen in their classes and all sorts of. So when this opportunity came up, she said, "Go ahead and try an audition." And I did. And that's how it started.
Oh, so when you auditioned, you never had any training, but do you still remember what you sang and what
I
happened?
do. Curiously enough, I think that I shall never see a poem as lovely as a tree. That was the song.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow. So were the adults in the room surprised that you could sing?
Well, it wasn't like a round table of adults. They said, "Okay, come on and sing." And so we all, as a choir, we all sang.
Mhm.
And I think our first performance was the maple, what do you call it? The maple dance. And you took a streamer and you all went around this maypole. So, and then we, as a choir, we sang. So it wasn't, oh, we've got a star. No, it was
Wow.
just one of many.
Mm. That's that's kind of let's go back a little further because you have that creative spirit in you and you were only in fourth grade when you could write that story. How did you become so creative? Because that I think contributed a lot to what you did during your adult life.
It's, I don't know. All I can say that it's divine from the universe because even singing at that time, singing was never a goal or something that I sought as a career or anything, even at that young age.
Mhm.
I know that when I went to junior high school, whenever the teacher didn't feel like teaching on a rainy day, they would host a talent show. And so the neighborhood that I grew up in, well, they were singing primarily Motown stuff. And I was considered a nerd because I was singing something from the Brothers Four. It was a very nerdy song. I'm drawing a blank as to the title of it, but I remember the kids laughing at me.
Mm.
And I was so nervous and I was so hurt because I was making my presentation in earnest, and I just thought to myself, that's okay. One day they won't be laughing at me.
Yes. It's funny that you mentioned the Brothers Four. I think recently, we do our Wizard News, and
Mhm.
recently, about maybe about a month ago, we did use a song from the Brothers Four as accompaniment to the news.
Oh, wow.
I'll,
So
I'll
now
find,
once there were green fields where rivers used to run. Once there were da 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 da. So that was the melody of the song. Da 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 da. Once there were valleys. Now, does that sound familiar?
no, it
It's
hasn't.
not,
Yeah, it's probably
but
another
it was the
song.
Brothers Four.
Yes, yes. Well, I'll find it for you, and then we'll send you the audio of it later.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, I will share with you that when I finally moved from Chicago, Chicago being my hometown,
Mhm.
when my mother and I moved from Chicago to Los Angeles, I started a friendship with a girl, and she had two sisters, and we would sing for different events during junior high school. And they were neighbors to a very popular R&B group at the time by the name of Sam and Dave.
Mhm.
And they listened to us and they suggested that we go to Capitol Records
Mhm.
and make a demo. And so we did. And when we were in the studio that day, Lou Rawls and Martha Reeves of the Vandellas were also in the studio. And they heard us singing and they said, oh, you guys have got to continue this on. And so we were offered a contract. Now, my friend, she and her sisters, they took this news to their mother and she was just excited about it. I took this information to my mother and she said, well, let's ask the pastor of our church first if this is okay. And my pastor said, either you have to sing for the Lord or you sing for the devil.
Oh my goodness.
And I was in the church choir. So at age 16, I decided I would sing for the Lord.
Well, that's a good decision in its way, but you still ended up on your own. But however, you still sing for Capitol Records, right? Even though you did not sing at that time, did you afterwards still get involved with Capitol Records?
Well, no, I, at that time in my life, I had a significant other and he was abusive. And I took a long walk to rid myself of that situation on that particular day. And I stumbled on a cultural center where they taught dancing and so on and so forth. And on the third floor, there was a place called the Stormy Weather Cafe. And they were rehearsing for an original play. And they were looking for someone to fill that a spot that was vacant. And they asked me if I could sing. And I said, well, yeah, I can sing a little bit. I auditioned and they hired me. That was the very first time I sang really in front of a real audience. And my significant other had a friend who was an engineer at Motown. So through Motown, I was introduced to Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye introduced me to producer Hal Davis. And from that connection, I was singing demos for already signed artists like Diana Ross and other singers. I did not get a contract myself, but I was singing demos for these other artists. And that was my connection to the recording industry.
Wow. So what did you do on the demos? You were like backup because of
No, no, I was actually singing. The producer would provide me the song and the back, and the music tracks. And I would actually go and I would sing the lead to a song. And
Oh,
then he would take that demo and present it to an artist to see if they would like to sing that song.
oh, wow. Well,
So,
that's mhm.
so that's how that kind of started. And meeting Marvin Gaye, and he and my significant other became friends. And Marvin Gaye was courting Jan. Jan at that time, her name was Jan, and they came over a couple of times for dinner. So it was, we don't plan these things sometimes. The universe just makes it all happen. And yeah, that's a segment of my life.
Wow. So I guess you got kind of known for the demos too at the time.
Well, I did a little. What's Marvin had a song, "What's Going On," and he had a lot of like background noise of people singing in the background. It wasn't really a background lead, but it was sounded like a bunch of people at a party. And so my significant other and we participated in that. But we really didn't. It was nothing like a contract. No.
Mm. Well, you did meet a lot of people there. How did you actually start recording professionally? Well, you had to have been performing, right? First, before you
Well,
be yes,
yes.
yes.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
That's okay.
Yes, I for years and years I was an executive assistant in the public relations department at a bank, and I was singing on the side, little clubs here and there. And when I became 59, it dawned on me that that's not really where I wanted to be, although my working surroundings were really perfect. I had the best boss and the best coworkers, but my heart was in, becoming a singer. So I thought, okay, I'm approaching 20 years of service, and I'm also approaching 60 years of age. And that was going to happen in a year. So I gave them a year's notice to retire so that I could get a pension to help me survive. And I just took a risk because I wasn't quite old enough to receive Social Security. But it just all worked out. And from there, I'd meet several different people in the music industry and started singing. And am I talking too much?
Oh, it's a wonderful background. Keep going.
And one day, a fellow who was playing the piano for me, he was working in Palm Springs for a casino. And his lead vocalist couldn't do it one day. And so he asked me if I would substitute for him. And I did. And that lead singer, for whatever reason, couldn't fulfill his obligations. And that's how I got started in Palm Springs. So now I've been singing in Palm Springs since 2012. And yeah, so it's been a while. And I now have two weekly residencies in Palm Springs, the premier night spots in Palm Springs. One is the Purple Room Supper Club. I've been there 10 years. And the other is Vicky's of Santa Fe, a suburb of Palm Springs. It's Indian Wells. And I've been there 9 years. And it's, I can't begin to tell you again, it's a miracle. I never sought these things. These opportunities somehow just came to me.
Well, you had some good vocal coaches as well. How did you how did you find them or they found you?
Yes, well, at one point in time, um, from some other singers, I heard about a vocal coach. His name was Mr. Phil Moore. Mr. Moore and his wife had a workshop. It was called the Phil and Jeannie Moore Workshop. It was located in Hollywood. And Mr. Moore had the distinction of being Dorothy Danbridge and Marilyn Monroe's coach back in the 40s. Mr. Moore was the first Black orchestra conductor at Universal Studios. And so, with that history, I was anxious to be a part of his workshop. And the things that he taught me then, oh my goodness, I still utilize those teachings. And if there's an upcoming vocalist that I see who I think has potential, I'm always very anxious to share that information with them.
Mm. Well, I also am very interested in voice, but I don't have enough time for professional singing. But I was very lucky at the right college to have a professor, Richard Gersten, and he taught me how to like use to project and how to sing without hurting my voice. So what was
Mhm.
so special with his teaching that really helped you? Was it in stage presence? Was it in projection? What helped you the most from uh, Philip Moore and his and Jeannie?
It was all encompassing. They taught you vocal exercises. Jeannie taught vocal exercises. Mr. Moore would have you select a song to present the next week. And in that song, he would have you to write a background story, a backstory. Where were you? Who were you singing it to? What season was it? Was it warm? Was it cold? All of these things, and where to place your microphone, the correct way to present a musical set. You start with an up-tempo song, then you go to a mid-tempo, a ballad, a Latin, and then you'd start the whole menu over again. So all of those, I mean, it was, and then you'd have a professional showcase. We would go to the Improv, which was a nightclub in Hollywood, and we would go there and invite family and friends, and you'd sing two songs before a live nightclub audience. So it was, like I said, it was all encompassing the information that they provided us as students. And to let you know also, one of his students was Diane Reeves.
And then did did you uh, learn how to sing musical theater from him?
No, not him. The musical theater, that was derived from that very place that I told you about, that I wandered off the street and wandered upstairs, and they took me in, and that's how I got my theater training.
Wow.
Um, uh, a, a fluke.
So many pieces fell together so that you have this special skill set. You training from Philip Moore, and then the theater training, and then uh, uh, lots of other things too. I can imagine.
Yes, yes. Well, I'm putting on a one-woman show right now about Sarah Vaughan. It's a theatrical presentation where you won't recognize me on stage because I actually become Sarah Vaughan. I don the wig and the gown, and I actually portray her. So when I come out on stage, I say, "My name is Sarah Vaughan." And this piece was co-written by a name Ken Steele. He and I wrote this, and we first took it to Palm Springs. It won 4 awards there. Then we took the show to New York, where it had a wonderful review, which is on my website, rosemallett.com. And from New York, we took it to Wyoming, of all places, Sheridan, Wyoming. And so now we're going to present it in Chicago.
Well, when you sing the Sarah Vaughan songs, do you use that tip from Philip Moore? Do you have the background story, and then does that help you sing with feeling, or you past that now?
Absolutely.
Cool.
It's impossible for me. It's so embedded into me now. It's impossible not to approach a song this way. It's automatic now. I have to I have to write the song out. Mr. Moore used to have us write it out 5 times to make sure that we memorize the song. And then not only did you write the song 5 times, you wrote, like I said, who are you singing it to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I still do that practice today. I don't write the song 5 times, but no, wait a minute. Maybe I do more, more than five. Because by the time I've actually digested the lyrics, I have written it so many times. Yes.
Mhm. Oh, so that helps memorization, and that helps to sing with feeling because we heard you on your recent album, Dreams Realized, and all your songs were had that heavy feeling, so much emotion in it. So
Ah, well, thank you. Thank you so, so very much. But, I will tell you, I appreciate what you just said. I also have another vocal coach that I also met when I wandered into the cultural center. And he's been coaching me off and on throughout the years ever since. And when I did my first demo of Dreams Realized, I was so excited. And I took the raw copy to my vocal coach. And by the way, his name is Ron Hasley. I do want to give him a shout out. I took it to him to listen to it. And he said, Rose, I don't believe a word you said. And and I thought I was using all the things that I was taught. And then he let me know you need to study a little bit more. And the outcome of what you hear on Dreams Realized is a direct result of that new information. We singers or actors or whatever, there's always something to learn. I have a new vocal coach now in Palm Springs, and her husband, his name is Lawrence Hobgood, and he was a piano player for, oh God, because I know I want to say it. I won't be able to think of it. But the point is, I don't care where you are in your status of performance, there's always something to learn to help you improve. And so now I'm learning how to breathe better. And I think what I'm doing now is better. I can even tell it myself that it's even better. So singers and actors really should not become complacent. There's always something to do to improve your craft.
and doesn't that make it more exciting and new and refreshing too when you're applying something new that you just learned?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's stimulating. It really is stimulating. It keeps it fresh. It keeps it new and exciting to you as a performer if you care. Now, there are performers who there will be no names mentioned. They sing well. They sing because they seek fame. I don't seek fame. And honestly, I don't seek fame. What I seek is just the opportunity to do what I love to do. Um, and I don't do it for money, but money helps.
We all need money. Well, for
So,
building dreams and dreams realized, some of those tracks are the same songs. So, what dreams realized, was it new versions of the songs in building dreams?
no, Frank, they actually were the same. However, the first album, which was Building Dreams, it was a brainchild of mine. Just as I was about to retire, I sang those songs, but I didn't know what to do with them. I was just like passing them out to friends and relatives out of my trunk. per se. I really didn't know what to do with them. They were never released to the radio. So one day I heard about, I didn't even know such a thing existed, a radio promoter. I didn't know anything about that until I said, oh, you know what? I think I'll dust those songs off and add a few more to make it, brand new. And so that's how that came to be. Then I met, was introduced to uh, Kate, Kate Smith, and she did her thing. And you were one of the recipients of that CD. And so, for which I am so thankful for the acknowledgement that different DJs have given me. And it's just really been so heartfelt, and I'm so grateful and so filled with so much gratitude.
What's it like hearing yourself on the radio? Were you able to catch yourself on the radio, tracks being played live on the radio?
It's weird.
When you listen, did you listen on a terrestrial radio or did you listen on a stream?
It was a stream actually, and I'm tearing things apart, and as I'm listening to myself, and I'm thinking, oh, I should have did this. Oh, I should have done that. It would have. Oh, I should have breathed different here, and I should have.
Well, that's okay. Well, that helps you in your future albums, in your future songs, in your future stage performances as well.
As well. Yes. So I'm really really very blessed. I was born in Chicago, August 3rd, 1947, weighing 2 pounds and 7 ounces.
Oh,
I will be 78 years old this coming August, and what a blessing to have such a creative, stimulating life at this age. It's a miracle. I'm still living, I'm still breathing above ground.
when
So
did
it's a blessing.
well, it's a blessing to have your presence, your voice, because you do have a very beautiful voice. When
Thank you.
You're welcome. When you were raised in Chicago, how old were you when you moved away? When you were in fourth grade, and all that happened that kind of ignited your creativity, was that in Chicago or was that in California?
We moved, my mother and I relocated to Los Angeles in 1960
Oh,
when I was 12 years old.
mm,
And so when we moved to Los Angeles, I was in middle school I was in the ninth grade. And oddly enough, I did Oklahoma. You know, I don't, sometimes I, I'm stammering now because even I am amazed at how the universe will guide you without effort. Sometimes you just have a purpose and you just have to sit back and allow the purpose to wrap its arms around you and recognize that gift that you've been given with gratitude. And with each opportunity comes another. If you are, if your heart is open, if your mind is open, and you want to just be a better person and do better at your craft, honestly, I think that saying about what you put out comes back to you like a boomerang. And so that's how I feel about what has happened to me at this time in my life. And the title of Dream Realized was very purposeful. My dreams are being realized.
mm. Did you realize that you had those dreams before?
Again, I can't say that I never ever saw it, but I find myself, it's like a choo-choo train. This opportunity is open. Okay, I'm going to take it. This opportunity is come. I'm going to take it. This opportunity is come. I'm going to take it.
So when you're on the choo-choo train, do you feel that you're riding the choo-choo train, or are you driving the choo-choo train?
That's a sneaky question. Hmm.
It kind of makes a difference.
I said, I'm not sure how to answer that.
Oh, that's okay. Just something for you to ponder.
Indeed. Thank you for that nugget.
You're welcome. There was something. Let me think. Oh yes. Why Sarah Vaughan? Why not,
Um,
let's say, Ella Fitzgerald?
my mother, as a child growing up, my mother and father, they were very social. My father owned a tavern, and my mother, she owned a poultry shop, but they often gave house parties. And the music that was always playing on the Chicago station was jazz, and of course I did hear Ella and the others. However, now I was 4 or 5 years old at this time, the first time that I heard Sarah Vaughan, and there was just something about her voice. I loved the way that she could sing real high, and I loved the way that she could sing real low. There was a range in her voice that I really loved to emulate. I don't try to sound like her, but I carry that sound in my spirit, in the back of my head. And that's why I chose Sarah. And so I don't know if she is living in me, because the story that I tell about her, I'm not just singing her songs in the show. I'm telling about how she was, when she was 15 years old, she would sneak out of her bedroom window, going downtown in Newark, New Jersey, where she was born, to hang out at all the jazz clubs. And she was, at this time, she was already singing and playing the piano in church. And she took this talent and she took it to these clubs, and eventually they would invite her to come on stage to sing and play. That's how she started. Can you imagine at 15 years old? Were you thinking about doing such a thing on your own? Going out into the street? And oh my goodness, even that story just makes me tingle all over because of her history and how it all started. And so that's a big part of my show, me saying how I started and how I met Billy Eckstein, how Ella Fitzgerald, how I won the contest at the Apollo, and how Miss Ella Fitzgerald took me under her. You notice that I said me. I'm talking in first person now. She took me under her wing, and um, and I'm just enjoying the heck out of it.
There seems to be a little parallel. It seems as if Sarah Vaughan was trying to go under out of her parents' influence because she had to climb out the window instead of walk out the door. And then, of course, your mom asked the pastor's advice about your singing. So,
Yes.
how do you feel about that? And how did Sarah eventually reconcile her dreams with what her parents wanted? Do you
Well,
know?
you know, her parents, her mother was an advocate for her, for sure. And and you know what? Just as you said that, something just came to my mind that I hadn't even considered before. Sarah's mother recognized her interest in music. And although her mother, she was not an educated woman, she took in laundry, but she saved up enough money for Sarah to take piano lessons, 25 cents a week. My mother, not an educated woman, my mother was a seamstress, and she also took in laundry. My mother also saved money for me to take piano lessons when I was 12. Now, I didn't have the chutzpah that Sarah had, and nor did I understand that that was the direction that I was going in. But I was able to play the piano by ear before I started taking lessons. And so my mother bought me a piano. So that is a parallel that I hadn't even thought about it just until just now. My mother was also taking in laundry, but she knew somehow that that was my interest. And where my pastor is concerned, I was really glad that I did not sing at that age because of my naivete. I don't think that it would have been a very good environment for me to be in. I think that that industry would have eaten me up some way. And just looking back, I'm glad that I waited because now I understand. Now I'm in more control of my life. Now I'm not subject to fall prey to the unsavory elements that can exist in the industry. So that's my take on that.
Wow. What lies in the future for you? How are you going to do this show for the foreseeable future? Do you have another show that you're putting together? And what about albums too?
Yes, well, thank you for asking that because I do plan to take Sarah. My next stop will be Los Angeles after Chicago. My next stop will be Los Angeles, and I would honestly love to take it internationally. I think the story has great. It's a meaty story to introduce people maybe who don't even know who Sarah is, it might be inspirational to their purpose in life, to not give up, and you don't know when these gifts will come to you. In terms of a new um, music project, I am currently in the works for a new project. I have contacted the producers. I have put together the songs. And so once I get back to once I get back to Palm Springs, then we will probably go into the studio by August. And so I don't even have a title for it yet. I'm playing around with some things like perhaps Life Realized.
So when
I
you
don't know.
so your regular appearances at Palm Springs, those 2 days a week, are they on hiatus now while you're touring or
Yes, well, one of the venues closed already, the end of May, and the next one, I still have one more. So after my show in Chicago, I have to turn right back around and get back to Palm Springs because I do have a weekly Saturday gig. And so we end at the end of June. June 28th will be the last performance for this season. And then it's just too hot here in Palms, not here. I'm in Chicago today. It's just too hot in Palm Springs. It's 116 today in Palm Springs, and it's going to get somewhere. Last year it was like 122. So, yes, we closed down for the summer, and then we reopen at the end of August. And that's when the snowbirds start to return because when it starts getting too cold, they want to come to where the weather is nice. So before winter sets in, they all start flocking back to Palm Springs, which is good for me.
of course. So this hot weather in Palm Springs, is that normal or is it on account of global warming now, this excessive heat?
It has always been a part of Palm Springs, I guess you say, weather character to be warmer during the summer. But the escalation to the 122 definitely cause of global warming. Yeah, and I fear, I'm not gonna, no, I take that back. I start to say I fear what it's going to be like later in the summer. I don't fear it. I'm just going to stay indoors where there's air conditioning.
Yes. By the way, for Sarah Vaughan, the Sarah Vaughan show, tribute to Sarah Vaughan's Songs of Sarah, how much research did you do to build that story together and connect the songs?
There is a book, and I'm embarrassed to say I can't tell you what the name of it is, but there's several books that they are, what is it called? It's a they're biographies, and so everything could not be put in the in the story in the show. So we decided, Ken Steele and I decided to concentrate on her youth, how her career began, and how it started. Because when she met Billy Eckstine, he introduced her to Earl Father Hines, and she became his first female band lead for his big band. So we thought it would be more interesting to tell about her youth and how it started, and not necessarily on and on and on and on about singing here and singing there. We thought that might be a little bit inconsequential, not inconsequential, but the meaty part where people will learn about her youth. I thought that was most interesting.
It sounds like it. Well,
Yes.
Smollett, uh, thank you so much for joining us here. And if our listeners want to learn more about you, where should they go?
They should go to my website, which is the same as my name, rosemallett.com. And
Okay.
my last name is spelled with two L's and two T's. So that's Rose Mallett, MALLETT.com.
And all your appearances and upcoming events are on the calendar on rosemalette.com.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Rose, for joining us. Good luck on all your shows. Good luck in your future endeavors. And thank you so much for joining us.
It's an honor. Thank you ever so much. I appreciate it.